Thank you, everybody. And I want to begin this afternoon by, of course, welcoming the return of the Prime Minister after his recovery from COVID-19. It's good to see him back at Downing Street at a crucial time for the country as we battle against the spread of coronavirus and defend our health service, of course, from its worst ravages. And as we continue as a society to limit the progression of COVID-19, it is really important to remind ourselves of some of the key points which the Prime Minister has made. Boris Johnson said the country had shown a great collective resolve in suppressing the peak of COVID-19 by staying at home and easing the pressure on our hospitals, and that's certainly true in Northern Ireland. However, that collective effort is far from over. The Prime Minister stressed that we are still in a critical moment in the fight against COVID-19, and we are in the first wave of the pandemic, and that means we still face the real risk of the reproduction rate of this virus going back above 1. So now is not the time for government, for businesses and for individuals to gamble with people's lives, and we need to proceed cautiously and ensure that we are doing everything we can to prevent another spike from occurring. Having done a remarkable job in slowing COVID-19's advance, governments around the world are wrestling with the dilemma of when is the right time to lift the restrictions. And last Friday, the Executive agreed to the reopening of cemeteries on a restricted basis, and that decision was criteria-led and, of course, was based on scientific advice. The Executive will continue that approach in every decision we reach relating to COVID-19, but you also, the Greater Northern Ireland community, have a role to play. We are conscious that a lot has been asked of you, the public, in recent weeks, and it is understandable, having spent so much time shielding, social isolating or social distancing, that many of you want to get out of the confines of your home and interact with family and friends once more. However, now is not the time for impatience to get the better of us. No one should act as if coronavirus has been beaten. It hasn't, and we still have some way to go. If people go back to gathering in large numbers in public spaces, and if they do not listen to the guidance on social distancing, then they run the risk of another spike. Having come so far in containing this disease, it would be more than just a crying shame to undo that collective effort. It would be catastrophic for families, for communities, and for a society as small as Northern Ireland. And as the Prime Minister said, while we start to think about relaxation, we have to guard against losing the control we have started to exert over the progression of this virus. We need to plot our path carefully to something resembling normalities. But if we go too fast, and if people act as if the virus is beaten, then the UK Government and the devolved administrations will be forced again to slam on the brakes in this country and on the economy. That's not where we want to be, and we cannot afford to get too far ahead of ourselves. We all need to listen to the scientific advice, the restrictions which we can afford to relax, but we also need to listen to the scientific advice on when the right moment will be to do all of that. These are not easy decisions, and every government is wrestling with them. So we need you to give us the space to do our job based on medical advice, scientific advice, and we also need you to do your bit as well. Please act sensibly. Please heed the scientific advice on containing the virus. And please remain at home as much as possible. If you need to go out for work, for shopping or exercise, please respect the social distancing advice and, of course, wash your hands thoroughly. Because the vast majority of you have helped save lives and boost our health services' ability to cope by following that advice. And together we have weathered some of the worst moments of the storm. We haven't reached the end. There is some way still to go. So please stay the course, please stay at home, and please save lives.